I'm back in NASCAR Heat Evolution. We're bringing you the not Indy 500, the not Monaco Grand Prix. This is the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race on the NASCAR circuit, and one that I would quite like to win, seeing as I do happen to enjoy the Memorial Day festivities, even though I participate in them in Indianapolis. So it would be cool to get a victory. So let's see if we can do that. We're 9th in the chase points. We already have a win this season, so we don't have to worry about that. But what we do have to worry about, easy for me to say, seemed like I was stumbling over my words there for a second, are two Hendrick cars right in front of me at the moment, preventing me from getting up closer to the front. Now, obviously, as you guys know, this is a very long race, so I'm going to try to drive kind of conservatively at the start of this thing, but no guarantees, as you guys are quite aware at this point, this far into the series, as I drove it a little too hard there in turn 3, but we're able to stay ahead of Chase Elliott, not able to stay quite ahead of Denny Hamlin. He's going to be a little bit tough with me there. And he's going to slow down in the middle of the corner. And we're going to go 3 wide off of turn 2. That's probably not a good idea. We're making it stick at the moment as Martin Truex, who seems to dominate every Coke 600, at least recently, even though he did not win this year's edition of it. As I try to sling around the outside of Hamlin, which I'm finally able to do. Now we'll move in behind Chase Elliott. See if we can't get around the outside of him as well. Yes, we will. Running that Larson line, the high groove around the outside of these 1.5 milers, and up into 10th position. So, got Matt Kenseth to go up to now, as well as Dale Jr., who's also moving up through the field quite well. Not sure who that is in the lead. It might be Kyle Busch. There are a lot of red, white, and blue cars in this race, even though I've bought none of the DLC. A lot of the free DLC adds a lot of 2016 Coke 600 schemes to the roster, so you're able to kind of see the field fill out through there. Also, no team improvements. There were, or no, easy for me to say, that's English. There were no team improvements to make. I didn't quite have enough money to start utilizing some of the new facilities I bought in some of the previous episodes, but we should be close after this race. And as you can see, 95 laps to go. Wowee, this is a long race, but we're catching up to Joey Logano here. Going to try to get to the inside. And into the draft. Down the back straightaway. Up to 187 miles an hour. And around Logano. No, it's not around Logano because we got into the wall. And he's going to take that position back. Wondering when lap cars are going to start showing up. They usually do show up relatively quickly in these races. It's unlike NASCAR 15, where the field kind of stays packed together most of the race. This, on the other hand, is very much more spread out, a little bit more realistic, maybe. I don't want to necessarily describe the game that a lot of people don't really like as realistic, but in a lot of ways, this game does get it right. There's enough here for me to be slightly hopeful for NASCAR Heat 2, or whatever they're calling it. Though I'm probably more excited just to be able to race trucks in Xfinity, which are supposedly coming, though it's not 100% confirmed. If it is, however, that's going to be absolutely massive, and will probably change a lot of people's minds just based on that fact alone. They could probably do this game exactly the same, with all of the bugs, quirks, and silly things that happen in it, and let's face it, inaccuracies. Remind me where the All-Star race is again? Oh yeah, you can't play it in this game. But yeah, I think just based alone on the fact that trucks and Xfinity might end up being in it, they could pretty much change nothing, and I think a lot of people would be won over by that. But we'll see. That certainly would make career mode Let's Plays a lot more interesting, being able to work your way up through trucks, Xfinity, and then finally to, oh, Monster Energy, oh boy. And that's why we don't go on the outside in the dog leg. And I just had to go really slow there. And we're down to 100 miles an hour. And we've been crashed by Casey Kane. And that better be a yellow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. Chase Elliott, once again, has had terrible luck. He seems to be one of the cars that always breaks. He and Ryan Newman seem to always end up in the pits. But we are racing again. A lot of the cars that we ran into are back here. As well as a few other guys who seem to have taken a strategy call. There's Elliott, who's 4 laps down, trying to make a move on the inside of me there. So let's see if we can't get around a lot of these guys who we know are faster, because we started up next to them. There's not really anywhere to go down here at the back straightaway. In turn 3, okay, that was definitely 4 wide for a second there. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And we're going to take our chances with the wonky AI in the tri-oval around the outside of a few guys. And around Ellis. And now we're going around D. Burrito and David Reagan in the Bubba Burger car. The sponsor that Buddy Lazier was going to have at the Indy 500 and then did not, for reasons I don't think I'm privy to share, but I do know them. I do know the reason Bubba Burger was not on the car. Yeah. No inside IndyCar information on a NASCAR 15 video, but we're going to try to pass the Bubba Burger car. I will say that there are no hard feelings between Bubba Burger and Mr. Lazier. It's just circumstances did not allow that sponsor to be on that car at that time. And now we're going 3 wide, almost trying to make it 4 wide into turn 3. And Landon Castle, I don't know what you're doing down there with Chris Buescher, but I don't like it. Now we're going to try to draft up on a couple of these front row cars. Not quite there. I still don't know why they named that team Front Row Motorsports. Is it like a joke? Are they trying to be funny? I'll never understand it. Okay, we are 3 wide down the back straightaway once again. And I think we'll be able to sneak around the outside if Buescher decides to go. Which he didn't really, kind of just parked in the middle of the corner. There's another Charlotte-only scheme. Trevor Bayne down there on the inside with the red, white, and blue, kind of like a bomb pop scheme. And Buescher's still not moving. Thank you. Now he's moved. And he's back out in front. So let's try to draft Stenhouse here down the back side of the course. On the inside, through the middle. Wasn't the most wise decision by me. And we're still diving to the inside, trying to get underneath Stenhouse, which we do. And almost get turned. Almost get turned by Stenhouse. The Talladega winner. In real life, not in this game. I think he's won a race in this game. The historians of my channel will have to know that because I don't remember the last time. I'm pretty sure Stenhouse has won a race on this channel. It might have been in NASCAR 15 though. Here we come behind Casey Mears. And another unique paint scheme to this race. And we'll get around him as well. And now we're going to start thinking fuel because we're kind of mid-pack and alone. But we are around a lot of the guys who are on our pace. How about that? On our kind of speed level. And a lot of these, and here we go. So pit stops are already commencing. A lot of the leaders coming in, including Kyle Busch was one of them. So we'll probably cycle around to the lead here with 80 laps to go. I mean, this is a long, long way to go. No doubt about it. But we're getting into a pretty good position as we pass Clint Boyer around the outside, move up into 7th position. We'll see how many of these guys come off into the pits as well. Coming down here into turn 3. Car's really working quite well. I added some tip, or added some tip to the grill. What the heck am I talking about? Added some tape to the grill as we take the lead. English is just not flowing today, folks. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I added some tape to the grill. It's really helping the front downforce quite a bit. Chris Buescher is now the 2nd place car with Landon Castle in 3rd and Ricky Stenhouse in 4th. So a lot of those guys who came into the pits or who have not pitted yet are going to be coming into the pits very shortly. And that's going to give us a pretty enormous lead because we were able to fight our way through the traffic properly as we come around and lap a lot of these guys who are still in the pits. And we've set our fastest lap of the race. Fantastic. Clean air working quite well for us at the moment. So Greg Biffle now in second. Kenseth in third. One of the faster cars here. He was very tough to beat in qualifying, even though I don't think he got on the pole. But he was definitely like half a second faster than me in qualifying trim. But obviously this is race trim, and things are a little bit different when you get into race trim. We come around and lap more cars coming out of the pits. It's funny that we haven't actually seen any other cars. They must all be kind of cycling around behind, which is kind of interesting. Now you kind of see some coming out of the pits in the back. But we got a 5-second lead on Greg Biffle. Things are going pretty smoothly right now. There's the traffic I was looking for. We're coming up behind De Benedetto and Eric Jones. Going to split those guys pretty easily. Thanks to their spotters for being hyper aware of the leader and where he was. Now we're coming up behind David Reagan in the Bubba Burger car. Going to try to get behind him and slingshot around. Nope, not quite there. Not quite there. Going to squeeze him down just a little bit, and around we go. And now we kind of set our sights out in front. You may notice I've switched over to fuel. We've got 6 laps to go before we have to come into the pits. Also tire wear. I'm going to show this menu off here in just a second if I can get to it. That is not the right button. David, where is the right button? There it is. We could theoretically just do right sides. I'm considering doing that just to kind of speed the pit stop up just a little bit. But we can play. It might be a better idea just to play it a little bit conservatively since we've got a 6-second lead over Matt Kenseth, who has finally gotten around Greg Biffle for the second position. So I don't know if I should play it a little more conservatively. Kind of thinking I should, or I will. There's another car in the pits. Looks like maybe Michael Annette the Threat. Let's see if I can cycle back around to the proper menu. There we go. 5 laps to go on the fuel.
All clear.
Didn't see how many laps we have to go full stop in the race. I would imagine it's about 60. Maybe it's more. Maybe it's like 70. So as we go down into turn 3, we'll take a look at that. As we're about to come up on some guys who nearly wrecked right there. Casey Mears and AJ Allmendinger bouncing off each other a little bit. Across the line, it's 71 laps to go. 4 laps to go though on the fuel.
Still there.
Of course, we're making pretty good mileage for whatever reason. I don't think it's going to be exactly 4 laps. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that. As we get in behind retired Scott here. I wonder how many laps down these guys are at the moment because of the pit sequence, the way it kind of fell. With all these guys having to make their stops under the green flag. I feel like I'm putting these guys at least their 3rd lap down, considering how many times I've lapped them previously. So around Brian Scott, and now also around Trevor Bayne. And Ricky Stenhouse also not having a very good day, down here in 28th position. Still 3 laps on the fuel. So like I said, we're getting pretty good mileage from this old Ford Heat right here. And try to make it around Stenhouse. Are we going to clear him? Maybe. Chris Buescher still looking a little bit squirrely there. The fuel alarm is on. We'll see if we go down to 1 lap by the time we get to turn 3. Otherwise, I'm going to go 1 more lap, I think. Yep, I think we're going to go 1 more lap. I think we're getting good enough mileage that we can stretch this a little bit. Now I'm going to go for 4 tires and fuel when we come into the pits. So Danica's up to 2nd as many of the leaders are coming off into the pits. In fact, we've got everybody but 3rd place, now everybody but 2nd place Danica, 1 lap behind the race. So yeah, estimated fuel, 1 lap. Are we going to make it in? I think we will. Logano down to 24th position. Not a big deal. I think he'll be back up at the front once the sequence kind of cycles around. And a yellow. And a yellow. Oh boy, that is going to help me a lot. That is pretty much lapped the field. Oh, that's fantastic. So a lot of people got the wave around. Not a big surprise. Brad Keselowski got the free pass. But I think a lot of the guys behind me are lap cars. So, yeah, that's going to help me out quite a bit. Keselowski is 8/10 back, but on a restart, when the cars are this packed together, you really don't know how far that actually is. I don't see Keselowski back there. Boy, I'm really glad I didn't come into the pits. I'm glad I kind of stuck it out as long as I did, because I'm really in good shape now. But of course, again, this being NASCAR Heat Evolution, you can never be too confident, because a lot of times this game wants to turn around and bite you. I'm kind of expecting it to at some point today. So the pit sequence has started back up, and we are just lapping cars left, right, and center as they all peel off into the pits. I think we're pretty good, as in a long way good on fuel, as compared to a lot of the rest of the fellas here. So we almost get into Paul Menard there. He's racing a little bit tough for being in 16th place, a lap down, but, you know, whatever. Fair play to him if he wants to try to stay on the lead lap, even though I think that was me putting him 2 laps down. Coming around McDowell for about the 100th time as we lap even more cars coming through and out of the pits. Let's take a look, since we've got a 5.5 second lead on Keselowski there, and a yellow is gonna negate a lot of that. So another yellow during the pit sequence. Keselowski actually stayed out. He is gonna be the leader coming down to the green flag. And we are underway once again at Charlotte. Let's see if we can't get around the outside of Keselowski here. Going into turn 1. No, it's going to be Edwards and Biffle going to the inside. So 3 guys around. Down the back straightaway. We're going to keep Kenseth behind us, though. Into turn 3, which seems to be my most strong corner. And obviously Keselowski is going to need to come in pretty soon, so it's really between myself and Edwards and Biffle. I just don't think I really had the grunt on that restart to really pull around these guys, but Biffle made a mistake there in turn 1, got on the apron, and we're going to come around Biffle pretty easily down the back straightaway now in the draft of Edwards. Once the car gets up to speed, it's quite fast, but yeah, those the acceleration's just not quite what it needs to be, as we're going to try to sneak around the outside of Edwards. Can we get there side by side through the tri-oval? That's always a risky venture. We set our fastest lap of the race, no real surprise, racing it in for the lead in traffic. Or not in traffic, but battling folks for the lead who are very, very fast and we're able to draft off of. So down the back straightaway, we're going to get a draft off of Keselowski around Carl Edwards. And now pulling in behind Keselowski, we should be around him pretty easily. He's on old tires, but we're going to run that Larson line. And we're going to choke away second place back to Edwards. So now we're going to have to build that momentum back up. I was a little ambitious coming in there into turn 3 trying to get Keselowski, but Edwards made the same mistake that Biffle did, getting down on the apron way too hard there in turn 1. And if we can get a draft off of Keselowski, which we're able to do, but Keselowski's coming to the inside. He's probably coming into the pits this time. We're going to see. I want to get taken out. Yes, he goes into the pits, and Edwards comes through. Edwards takes the lead from me as I tried to avoid Keselowski because I knew he was coming into the pits. And now we're going to have to battle Carl Edwards as he makes the same mistake twice in a row. Carl, what's the definition of insanity? It's called getting past on the inside of the back straightaway, maybe, if I can do it. Not quite there. He's got a very powerful car in a straight line. Let's try to cowboy around the outside here. And we're able to do it for now, side by side out of turn 4. Edwards is still there. Is he going to come up into me? No, he's racing clean at the moment. Side by side, still. And he gets on the apron just a little bit. We're going to take the lead for now. Run the Larson line, scrape the wall. Edwards still to the inside. What a duel. What a battle. This is maybe one of the best battles I've had in NASCAR Heat, maybe ever, against Carl Edwards here. And around the outside, going to get back to the lead. Edwards is going to take it on the inside. Wow, what fantastic racing so far. Edwards is going to sneak out in front. We're going to have to draft him down into turn 1 here. Going to try to pull out and pass him again. Edwards right on the apron. Right on the apron. The crowd's going absolutely nuts because we're swapping the lead. I swear there's probably been about 20 lead changes in about 2 laps here. We've been swapping the lead back and forth so much. Edwards down to the inside. Once again, we're going to squeeze him down just a little bit in turn 4. Can't quite take the lead. We're not quite as fast through that corner as Edwards is. Edwards is going to sling in front once again and pull out to a little bit of a lead that time around. He's going to get down to the apron once again. We are understeering just a little bit. Going to try to chop down behind him, get a little bit of draft. Lap cars are coming out of the pits. This is going to throw a monkey wrench into this. Who's going to get through the lap cars better? Looks like Chase Elliott just out in front. Assuming his car is fully repaired, he's going to be tough to get around as he was up at the front at the beginning of the race. And Edwards still holding the lead. Still holding the lead with 40 laps to go. We're checking out from everybody else. We're 1.6 ahead of Biffle, right around the outside of Carl Edwards. The crowd once again cheers, and this time it's me who clears Carl Edwards. We're going to sneak down in front of him. Wow, that was so close. But we finally get Carl Edwards into turn 3 and down the back straightaway and into turn 3. And now, can we put a lap car, Danica Patrick, between myself and Carl Edwards? Yes. It was exactly what we needed to do right there to maintain the lead. And just as I said, Chase Elliott looking very strong here, passing a lot of guys around the outside there. That's Eric Jones. So we got like 3 or 4 different speeds of cars here. As Jones, I don't think necessarily saw me there as I pulled, or as Boyer went to the inside of him. He kind of moved out of the way of Boyer and almost into my way. Elliott's only 39. Somebody's had a worse day than Elliott at the moment. And we're going to try to pull around the outside of Elliott. Elliott made another mistake. Looks like the AI really make that mistake there in turn 1. A slam in the apron. And we're going to get around 2 out of the 3 cars here. There's Austin Dillon, who we're also going to get around.
All clear.
And we've put 1.7 seconds between us and Carl Edwards, so really doing a good job here, effectively slicing through the traffic as we try to chase down a Coca-Cola 600 win. And we're coming up behind retired Scott, who's running in 29th. I think he was 30th the last time I saw him. And then we're going to get a little bit of clear track. So let's take a look. We know what the leaderboard says. We're back to 8 laps to go on the fuel. Seems like we're perpetually at 8 laps to go on fuel.
Still there. You're all clear.
I still haven't had to make a green flag pit stop yet during this race. I'm kind of hoping we actually get to do that, because if we can go green to the end, I think we're going to be in even better shape than we would be if we had to make it a shootout. You know, obviously, I don't want to. It seems like my weak spot on the track is coming out of turn 4, and that is probably, for a shootout, the worst place you could be bad, because it's all about that setup running to the checkered flag. But we're already 3 seconds ahead of Edwards, so clearly our car is very good on old tires. It's just very conservative. It saves fuel. It's good on tires. It's good in traffic. Maybe not as good by itself, though. We're battling one car, as we saw against Carl Edwards. We just couldn't quite clear him. And now we get a big run off of Tony Stewart, who has worked his way back up to 17th after being kind of down and out. Oops, into the wall we go. And here comes a few cars into the pits. It looks like maybe Kyle Busch, who really has not been up near the front since the beginning of the race. I think he had a bad strategy, and that's kind of killed him so far. And can we get Stewart here down the back straightaway? Okay, that's a little ambitious. Little ambitious. And we got to the inside. We get around. Is he going to do the crossover move, though? Can't believe I'm racing a lap car that hard, but whatever. we've kind of got to build a gap too. Oh, there's Kyle Busch coming out of the pit, so he's several laps down at this point now. We don't have to worry about him. But yeah, I definitely need to build up a gap here to the end of the race. And it looks like an absolutely enormous pack up there. Wow, that looked like a NASCAR 15 pack. I'm hoping we don't have to end up catching that by the time. Okay, 4 laps. We probably won't catch that pack, but it wouldn't surprise me if we did. Kyle Larson into the pits. Don't think he's one we've been concerned about particularly throughout this race. There's Almirola and Truex. Truex was obviously one of the tough guys early on in this race, as well as Denny Hamlin, but we are lapping them. They're all the way down in the 20s, which is kind of surprising to say the least. Turn 3 once again, kind of keeping it in the center of the track this time. And more cars peeling off into the pits. That might have thinned the pack just in front out just a little bit. We're coming up to 30 laps to go next time around. Oops, the car got a little too low there in turn 1, hit a bump, and really sparked the car up a little bit. Got some more cars, looks like, peeling off into the pits, or that's just this pack kind of being crazy. No, it is cars peeling off into the pits. Trust your instincts, David. They're usually right. And so we lap some more cars. We haven't gotten the fuel alarm yet, and we just do crossing the line. So do we be conservative, or do we try to stretch the fuel once again? We'll see where we end up getting a 1 lap to go signal here. I think we should be able to go 1 more lap here, especially because I'll have to lift off in 3 and 4 to make the pits anyway. I don't really have to worry about it. So we're going to go 1 more lap here. Hopefully I don't throw it away. We just got the 1 lap signal there with 29 to go. I don't remember what button the clutch is, so we're not going to be able to kick the clutch in and just kind of ride. We'll get in the draft of Annette here.
You're low on fuel.
Yes, spotter. Alright, so we're going to kind of go easy into turn 3 and 4. Peel off the track, nice and easy. Speed limit's 45. We should be down to that pretty easily, and we are. So finally, we get a green flag pit stop. 4 tires and fuel. No repairs needed. No repairs necessary, I should say. Even though the car does look a little beat up there on the right side. 16.4 is the estimated. We might go a little bit faster than that. Yeah, and just a little bit faster than that. To a 16.3. We're still leading this race. Take a look when we get a chance. How close everybody is. No need to do that, David. No need to do that. Okay, we're back out on the track. Okay, so Biffle is 6 seconds behind. I'm glad I saved that. I've been driving, I just got the game, or I shouldn't say game, maybe sim is a better word. Just got the sim Assetto Corsa for Xbox One, and since I'm poor and don't have a wheel yet that's compatible with Xbox One, I've been playing that with a controller, and I think that's helped my car control a little bit, because that game punishes you for the smallest mistake. So generally, NASCAR Heat, I spin out a lot. I have yet to spin out yet, knock on wood. 25 laps to go. Fuel, we're gonna have to have a splash and dash, which is a little bit concerning, but I think that'll be all right, because I think our tires are gonna be fine. So really it is just going to be a splash and dash toward the end of this thing. No need to bring the car in for tires, because we simply don't need them for the 5 laps that we'll need to complete once we get out of the pits. So up behind Michael Annett the threat, and around Michael Annett the threat we go. It's amazing that Greg Biffle has maintained this 2nd place. What a fantastic drive from him. I wasn't really expecting just to have Biffle be the competition, but a lot of times the Coke 600 is one of those races that brings out some interesting results, so not really a surprise, maybe, to historians of this race. As we get behind David Reagan, absolutely fly by him down the back stretch. And around the Bubba Burger, number 23. once again into turn 3 again.
Car hit his pitty.
And we got more cars peeling off into the pits. Austin Dillon. Don't know why. Seems like everybody is now completely off sequence from one another, and we've got a yellow. So, I don't know if we should pit or not yet. We've got 15 laps of fuel. There's 24 laps to go. We can't make it, so I'm not going to pit. I'm going to make that executive order not to pit. Okay, so we're ready to go back to green. 9 laps, or 9 cars on the lead lap.
Get set.
So,
The race is going green.
this will be interesting.
There's the green flag.
Back to green.
20 to go.
And we've got 20 laps remaining. And the fuel is 15.
Car low.
So that's the situation there.
Car high.
I know the fuel pit stop will get you 19 laps. And I'm probably, now thinking about it, probably should have gone into the pits, but we're just going to have to deal with
Car high.
the consequences of our actions.
Clear high.
Kind of knowing that everybody else is going to have to probably stop anyway, including the AI that pitted anyway. So I'm kind of banking on that. So obviously slow restart, or slow start, we get here, as usual. Hopefully we won't have a duel like we had with Edwards. Edwards has kind of fallen back already. Don't need to look at fuel. I'm going to stretch that. I know I can stretch that, so it's not a big deal. So now Earnhardt has suddenly found his way up into the top of the
Car low. All clear.
order here as I almost hit the wall, but didn't quite do it. Kenseth and Earnhardt racing hard. Jimmy Johnson is up here now. I think everybody, though, is going to have to make one more stop. That's kind of what I'm betting on. And now Earnhardt, a little bit slow off of the corner. Gonna pull out,
Still there.
grab the draft of Kenseth. Try to get to the outside of both. Maybe not. And it's going to be Earnhardt taking the lead. Earnhardt taking the lead, so Dale Jr. goes to the front at Charlotte here with 17 laps to go. But is it going to be enough
Still
to
there.
hold on and win this thing? Because Matt Kenseth is making it very difficult for me to pass. It seems like I need to be on the bottom, but I just can't quite get down there to really get a good run.
Still there.
On the throttle, come on. Can't quite get there again with Kenseth. He's still on the inside. Gonna try the crossover move. This is how we got Edwards. I think we're bump drafting with Kenseth
Still
there. And a little bit of a hip check there in the side.
Still there.
And we're having this Edwards problem again, but this time it's like Edwards and Keselowski. This is exactly the same situation where we've got another car out in front, which is kind of creating draft for us to get in behind. I think this time I'm going to clear. No, I'm not. Not quite going to clear Kenseth. He's going to come up, make a little bit of contact there. Oh, this is so tense. This is so tense. So where's the fuel? 10 laps to go on the fuel. I know we've got more laps in the race than that. Try to pull around. Kenseth right up next to the wall. Right up next to the wall, but we hang on to it. Oh, that was a little bit dirty. So 14 laps to go. It's going to be down to 5 laps on the fuel. Oh, into the wall we go. We have to go down there and be defensive on Johnson. Oh, I can't believe Dale Jr.'s leading this thing. Alright, so are we going to be able to pull to the inside of Kenseth? We're still just not there. We're just not there. Big draft. Try to arc it into the corner. Nope, a little too high. Little too high. Boy, this is like a plate race almost. Like a 90s plate race. Where everybody's in a line, nobody can really pass. Alright, pulling out, and Dale Jr.'s leading the race. No, that's a 2000 plate race, never mind. Alright, come on, come on, come on. Right to the inside. Can we make that pass stick? No, he's still right there in front. We're getting a bump draft there. Gonna sneak to the inside of Kenseth. Oh, that was a bit of a kamikaze move, if I may say so myself. Still couldn't pull the pass off. And that's actually going to allow Jimmy Johnson to get the run to the inside and around, along with Carl Edwards. Oh, that couldn't have gone worse. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We've wrecked Jimmy Johnson. We have wrecked Jimmy Johnson. Did he save it? I believe he did. I believe Jimmy saved it. So we're down here with 11 laps to go. How many laps on the fuel? 6. That's not very confidence instilling. Not very confidence instilling. So right there still. And the leaders are pitting. The leaders are pitting, but Ryan Blaney is not, and neither is Carl Edwards. Oh my gosh!
10 laps to go.
Carl Edwards just wrecked me. And now we're wrecking big time. Yellow is out. That is going to mix up the pit sequence for sure, but it might have taken me out of a chance to win the race. Okay, so how many laps do we have to go? We're in 8th position. We've got 8 cars to pass. It looks like the Red Sea is parting here as we're green. So we got 15 laps of fuel, 6 laps to go. We know we have the car to do it, and we now have the tires, the light fuel load, and the repair jobs done to the car. The Busch brothers should be called the Lap brothers because they're laps behind the race. And we're wrecking again.
Yellow's out.
Thankfully, my car did not get damaged, and Joey Logano is being pushed down the back straightaway, so we're going to get another shot at this, even though it's going to be less laps to go. Alright, this is a green-white checker for the Coke 600. We're in 8th place. There are 10 cars on the lead lap. Kenseth leads with Dale Jr. to his outside. Carl Edwards making the move to the inside. As we get underneath Jimmy Johnson. I don't think we're going to have enough laps to do it. We're just too far back. We've had the strongest car all day. We've dominated. And it may come down to the fact that we're not going to be able to get 4 places. We'll see. Blaney, Earnhardt, Edwards, Kenseth. White flag is out. Can we do it? Can we do it? Gonna push Earnhardt to the outside. Try to get to his inside. Earnhardt gets a little bit loose. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Can't quite get around Blaney or Earnhardt. It looks like it may be Matt Kenseth race. A big move to the center of the track, making all sorts of contact with Dale Jr. Oh, we're gonna do a Davey Allison across the line. We finished 5th. Finished 5th. Wow, that was about as wild a way to finish it as we could have possibly done. So that was the Coke 600, maybe the most exciting finish this race may have ever had. You can see the finish right there behind you as I slide across the line, just nabbing 5th place after nearly crashing. Kenseth leads and wins. Lots and lots of cars laps down as the pit sequence kind of dictated there. Wow, what a race. Casey Kane was the last car to finish in the race, 40th position. You can see just an absolute carnage race, as the Coke 600 generally is. Lots and lots of cars in various states. So let's take a look at the earnings. We did do a pretty good job, I would say. Almost $250,000, or more than $250,000. 25 grand from Loves. We got a top 15 from Aspen Dental. We got a top 10 from Moog. We got the fastest lap of the race. So 40,000 from CSX, and we got a top 5 from Quicken Loans. It's going to put our earnings nearly at the $500,000 mark. So a fantastic earning day, even though we didn't quite get the victory. Point standings are going to look pretty good after a top 5 in one of the stronger, or one of the more difficult races on the calendar, up to 12th in the point standings, but of course we are locked into the chase with that win. So let's head back to the garage and see if there's anything else to take a look at. So from Charlotte, we're going to move on to Pocono, one of the more interesting tracks on the circuit. Should be some fun. Pretty good at Pocono in this game from what I remember. I'm a little bit concerned about our straight line speed, but it looks like we got some money in the bank to play with. Maybe we can improve that. So in the next video, I hope to see you. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in that next video.